What's up? Hey, hello, everyone. Wow, so happy holidays. And so today we are back going to be talking about Survivor Season 40, Winners at War. Wow. So my name is Rachel.
And I'm Alyssa, and we're so excited to get some official winners at war. Oof, that's a
Yes.
tongue twister. Some official winners at war stuff because we've seen some unofficial leaks or whatever, and we've done, videos surrounding the cast list before. We've done a video around the purported leaks about what the twists are going to be, and from the trailer that we've seen, we know that those twists are indeed going to happen. So that's going to be fun. So we've already talked some about Winners at War, but we're really excited to talk more about it, especially now that we have an official name. And personally, even though it's a tongue twister, I think Winners at War sounds so badass.
Yeah, straight up, it sounds so cool. I keep getting it mixed up. I don't know, now I can't think of what I would get it mixed up with, but it sort of confuses me in my head. But yeah, like Alyssa said, we do have a playlist. It'll be linked down below after this video is live, but we also have 4 other videos talking about season 40, talking about the twists and tricks, talking about their cast, and who we think will win this season. And then in the future, we'll also be doing a boot list and then tribe reactions and stuff like that. So super exciting. We're bringing in 2020 with Winners at War. I'm excited that it's actually finalized, sort of official, because before everyone was just saying oh, it's not official yet. You can't or you shouldn't be talking about it, but it's official, y'all.
Yes. And so one of the official things that we got was the official cast list. So that's super cool. I think it's the exact same cast list as the leaked cast list that we already did our reactions on. But I know some of the people from the official cast list that I'm super excited to see is Rob and Amber playing together. I'm really excited to see Parvati again because I love her. Um, yeah, I'm stoked to see Ben again. I really enjoyed Ben's season. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, so the official cast list, going in order from the lowest, I guess reverse chronological order, the lowest to the greatest, with the season that these people won. So Ethan won season 3, Sandra won season 7 and 20, Amber won season 8, Danny won season 11, Yule with season 13, Parvati with season 16, Boston Rob with season 22, Sophie with 23, Kim with 24, Denise with 25, Tyson with 27, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, online said 26. I was reading that now and I copy pasted. Definitely did not look right. 28 is Tony. Natalie is 29. Jeremy with season 31. Michelle 32. Adam 33. Sarah 34. Ben 35. Wendell 36. And Nick 37. A lot of recency bias with this cast, which I think makes sense, because it has been 10 plus years for some of these people who are playing for the second, third, fourth, fifth time on this season. So definitely, I feel like it makes sense that you would have a lot of the more recent winners because, they can still take time off their job, or they're young enough to still be able to play the game. But a lot of more recent winners of the last few that we've seen here.
Yeah, and I'm sure there are some people who did refuse to come back for one reason or another. So that could also be a reason, yeah, that we're skewing towards the more recent because the more recent seasons, I feel like the people are more eager to come back. So, yeah.
Yeah, so the twists have also been sort of confirmed in the preview video for season 40. The preview that we're talking about is the preview that they showed at the reunion episode of Survivor season 39. So basically, the preview says that Edge of Extinction will be coming back into play. There will be a $2 million prize, and that there is something new called fire tokens that are entering the game. I think in our other video on this channel where we talked about the twists before they were finalized, you can say, we definitely talked about these things. I'm not sure if we talked about fire tokens in that video, but basically from the preview, fire tokens and are an in-game currency both in the game and on the edge of extinction. So I feel like that'll be interesting. I feel like we thought it was just on the edge. So having it be in-game and on the edge is sort of weird maybe. And you can either spend them on things like comfort or for advantages in the game. And so looking online, I feel like this hasn't been that fleshed out in online publicity yet. So I'm sort of intrigued. Like, what does this mean? How do you get these tokens? Do you win them by like winning winning immunity or winning reward challenges with your tribe? And then once it goes into the individual portion of the game after the merge, is it like you win it through doing these challenges? Like, how do you get these? Do you find them? And just having it in the game and out of the game too, because technically when you're on the edge, you're out of the game. So like, how is that going to work? I'm intrigued.
I think it would be really interesting if instead of getting them when your tribe wins, you get them when your tribe loses. So it's kind of like people have to be like, oh, I could throw this game or throw this challenge and get more fire tokens, but I could be voted out. Just because I feel like if you give fire tokens to the people already winning immunities and awards, it's like kicking the people who are down when they're down. And yeah, I feel like that could really easily skew the game really far in like one person or one group of people's favor if they're the ones winning all the immunities and also all the fire tokens, blah 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 blah. So
yeah, that would be interesting because it would add a whole nother level of strategy. It's like, do you throw the challenge and risk going to tribal council, but you can buy an advantage in the game or something like that? But yeah, I think if you win it and you're already winning and not having to go to tribal, then it sort of gives you like the haves and the have-nots, which, as we've seen on Survivor, it's sort of a bad theme, and then it's very lopsided in who wins and then who loses and who's suffering and can't do anything because they have no food, they have no flint and whatever. It's just not an even playing field, I feel like. With the Edge of Extinction, briefly, I think it'll be cool for this season because it'll give all of our favorites more screen time, because I feel like some of these big name players are going to go home early because no one wants to deal with that in the game. And so having the edge, it'll be cool to see them, even though they're voted out, like a 39-day long Ponderosa video, because I'm always sad when we see the pre-jury people and we never get to see what happened to them. So having our favorites voted out at the beginning won't make us sad because we can still see them on the TV. And I feel like I've seen so many funny memes going around about Edge of Extinction and how Reem should be like the Boston robber Sandra of the Edge and have a big totem there of her greeting people. I'm like, wow. Imagine Reem greeting all of these like Survivor all-stars. I'm like, oh Lord.
Like, would they even know who she was? Like, honest to God, how many of them still watch Survivor is my question. Like, does Ethan still watch Survivor? He hasn't played for like 20 years, basically.
Straight up.
It's been what, like 19 and a half years, 18 and a half. So it's like, will these people remember Reem? Like, so yeah.
Yeah, so the reunion preview video from the reunion episode, I think it's just so hype. Australian Survivor does these preview videos so freaking well. I think if you do not watch Australian Survivor, you definitely should check it out. It's on Facebook, all the episodes. Their previews for their All-Star season next February as well. So next year is going to have a lot of good TV. But their previews are bomb.com. The season 40 preview, it's good, but I don't think it's on par to the Australian preview. It's just so freaking good, their ones. But I think it's cute, this preview, and it seems like for this season, these contestants were forced, or they had to wear what they wore the season that they won in. So if you go in and you like slow-mo or like you look at what the people's outfits are, it's the very stereotypical outfits that they wore either like literally on the season that they won. And also if you go in and pause when Jeff says that the prize money is $2 million and look at everyone's reactions, and then look at Tyson, he's literally just standing there. Everyone else is like screaming like, oh my God, $2 million. And then he's like, standing there. I'm like, oh, I love Tyson.
I think it's funny that both Rob and Amber freaked out because together they've won $2 million from Survivor. Sandra's already won $2 million from Survivor. Like, so whatever. I think the the video was hype, but I wish they hadn't spent so long just panning over like the water while music played because it's just like I'm learning nothing about this season. Like the music is cool to set the mood, but we need to get cracking. I want to see more about like what's gonna happen. So like I get that they never really show anything of real importance, but
That's true. I feel like they're saying, oh, fans are lucky because we announced the cast. And so a lot of people are also thinking, like, oh, they won't even announce the full cast of people on this season. So I guess a thank you, whatever. But it's interesting. I feel like Alyssa and I went through and we've rewatched it. I've seen it so many times. I'll just watch it when I'm bored of who gets a confessional in the preview video. And so we have getting a confessional as Parvati, Tony, Ethan, Rob, Adam, Jeremy, Ben, and in between Rob and Adam's confessionals, there's someone talking with a voiceover, but they never show the face. And so if anyone can comment down below who that is, we're thinking Yule, but we can't really tell. And so Ethan already talked, and all of the other guys have like either an accent or some kind of distinct voice. And so if you can tell us who that is, let us know. But who gets a confessional is super interesting because it's either famous people like Parvati and Boston Rob, or it's people that won recently. So like Adam or Jeremy or Ben and Sarah are all very recent winners. Sort of surprising, I guess, that Sandra didn't have a confessional in this, considering she's the only two-time winner, and whoever wins this season will technically be a two-time winner, but it's a little bit different, I feel like, when it's all winners. Like, obviously, someone will be a two-time winner kind of thing. But yeah, I think that's interesting. Yeah, maybe Wendell not having a confessional.
I thought Ethan getting one was interesting just because, like, I don't really think of Ethan as like a particularly notable Survivor winner. Like,
especially being like the oldest winner, as in the most furthest back winner out there. Yeah.
Like if Hatch was playing, I would be shocked if he didn't get a confessional. But like, are they just giving Ethan the confessional because he's the like quote unquote oldest winner, or because he has that like crazy story about like just beating cancer, or like? I feel like of all of these people, Ethan is the one who I'm like, yeah, this means that he must have some sort of relevance to the story, just because I feel like there's no justification for him like having that confessional other than like, oh, he's going to be important. So,
yeah. And I guess if you're picking like super memorable, famous, older winners, I would see, Sandra is the second oldest winner in season 7. And then, yeah, season 7. Amber gets a lot of FaceTime because Boston Rob talks about her and their marriage. But yeah, I think putting Kim or Denise as a confessional in there, like we saw zero from them. Even if you like zoom in on the backgrounds or like other shots, like you don't really see them at all. Michelle, who doesn't have a confessional, I feel like you get a lot of face shots of her when she's in the water at that first challenge, or just like smiling or walking or whatever. So like she gets FaceTime. But like Kim and Denise, I feel like one of them maybe could have had a confessional, and those are like quote unquote older winners and very strong winners that if Survivor was trying to put Ethan in there as like, oh, the older crowd, here's your fan favorites, like come watch the show, maybe they would have seen a Kim or Denise win, and maybe they weren't watching season 3. I don't know.
Yeah, and I feel like also one of the things about I thought that was kind of like funny but also sad about the video was they like went through the whole cast and did like pop-ups of their face and their names, and they started out slow, and then by the end it's like you get like a quarter of a second on screen, and I felt so bad for the people like at the end of that. Like, oh. You
You got
deserve better.
screwed if you're Yule and Tyson in that alphabetical order, because then your name just like zips by so quick. And just like looking at those photos because they have been posted, some people just look so bad in their photo. Like, was it a moving shot and then like the editors just like screenshotted a moving shot? Because it looked like some people's mouths were open. They were going to be talking. Like, I don't know. They weren't smiling, but they're trying to do a like sultry look at the camera, kind of half open mouth, half closed mouth kind of thing. I was like, these photos are sort of really bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, first challenge, when in the preview, Jeff is saying, "Oh, $2 million. Everyone is screaming. You have the Winners at War logo in the background, and then off to the side, you can sort of see it's like that water challenge where they throw something, a ball, disc, buoy, whatever, and you have to try to drag it to your team's side. Looks like that's the first reward challenge kind of thing, potentially. And it seemed like a lot of the clips from this preview were from this water challenge. It looked like it was a lot of like group shots of people fighting for a buoy kind of thing. So I always love these challenges where it's you have to do a challenge like in Heroes versus Villains. Fight each other for a sandbag to get flint. The first few minutes that you step onto the beach, I just love these challenges. Since we didn't have a marooning this season of Survivor, I think I love when they have the challenges at the beginning. First step on the beach, like, let's go, let's fight. They're so cool.
Yeah, I think it's great too because it like I feel like this is one of the only like really physical challenges that they ever have in Survivor. Like I feel like in general they try to avoid these types of challenges because it's like some of the matchups are just going to be unfair. So I thought that was really interesting. What I'm kind of sad we didn't see anything about is how they divided the two winners or the two teams into the two tribes. Whew, words. How they like chose who was on which tribe because it seems kind of like they just did random tribes. But I would have liked to see like more of that.
Yeah, I guess next video, Alyssa and I will probably do a tribe reaction. So maybe we can see if Google has anything of how these tribes were split. Because definitely with these people, they're all being in the Survivor universe. Some are like very, very famous in the Survivor world. Like there's going to be a lot of pregame alliances or even friendships, I feel like, coming into this season because people know each other and they've been in this world and they know of each other, or if they've gone to parties or whatever. And so people have even just played together or they're freaking married. So there's a lot of like interesting tribal dynamics, I feel like, which will be very interesting to see play out. And so like who we're excited to see play, I'm super excited for some of these older winners just to see play again because some of these people have never even played Survivor with a hidden immunity idol in the game, literally, or like they've not played this modern Survivor with a bunch of advantages kind of thing, or like I feel like now it's sort of less stereotypical alliances from day one make it to the end, or we're going to vote out the weak females first and keep the men until the merge. But I feel like we've seen more of this intermixing and like, sure, yes, it still falls back on this stereotypical who we vote out first, who we vote out second kind of thing. But like some of these older winners, I feel like it's going to be so interesting to see how they adapt to this more fast paced kind of gameplay with a shiz ton of advantages.
Yeah, especially because some of them haven't played multiple times as
Mm-hmm.
well. Like some of them, this will be their second time playing Survivor, which I think is also interesting because it's like people who have both won and lost have like a different perspective on the game, I think, because you know what it's like to sit on both sides of the jury. Whereas
Yeah.
like Yule, he's only played Survivor once and his one time was the time he won. And I think that's definitely going to be interesting. I think playing with a different group of people is also going to be a challenge for some people because I think some winners honestly only won because they played with like the right group of people. And like
And a
you could
bunch of idiots.
yeah, like you could even argue that Rob only won because he played with a bunch of gullible people. You could argue that Michelle only won because she played with a bunch of people who were bitter at the end of the game. So, yeah, I'm curious to see how people change their strategies and if they realize they need to change their strategies or if they just think like, "Oh, I won once, it'll be fine." So,
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point because, like with Edge of Extinction, when Rick Devens got voted out and then he comes back in, I feel like you sort of see a change in gameplay from people who have had the taste of being voted out of the game. Like, you know what it feels like to lose everything and then have a second chance at life. So I wonder if that'll affect people, like the winners that have only played once and then they won their first time, or someone like Jeremy who got voted out the first time, came back a second time and then won, and then now it's his third time, so he's able to know like what it's like to get voted out and what it's like to like win, and how your body sort of reacts differently and what your gut says. I think that's just super, super interesting. And literally, Heroes versus Villains, it was filmed in 2009. And so season 40 was filmed this year in 2019. And so some of these people, it's been like 10 years since they've played the game. And I think it'll be so cool to see like how they're different in their real life and how that goes into gameplay. You know, Parvati, she had a child, people have kids, people got married, people had a lot of life things happening, and
Ethan had cancer. Like,
and so yeah, they're all older now too from their first, second, whatever number times they've played for a lot of these older ones. So I think, how has their life changed them? And then how is that going to reflect onto Survivor? Because I feel like Parvati being married, having kids, like I don't think she'll play that sort of flirtatious kind of game this time. And so I think it'll be so interesting. Like, how is she going to play? It's just so cool.
yeah, I'm really excited to see how gameplay changes. And like, in order to win, I feel like with a bunch of other winners, you need to be thinking like 4 or 5 or 6 steps ahead. And I
Mm.
think what you mentioned earlier about all the like twisting relationships, I think that's why it's good that they didn't have like the winner from 39, for example, come and play, because it's like if you come in having just one survivor, it's like you don't have any of the relationships that you can fall back on. And I feel like even Nick, compared to someone like Boston Rob, who is like married to one of his competitors, he just spent 39 days with Sandra. It's like, yeah.
Which I guess you could say, being a recent winner, like if Tommy went on this season and people wouldn't have seen you win because the season was filmed right after 39 finished filming, like no one knows who the frick you are, could be an advantage or a disadvantage. We saw it with like Michaela and Zeke coming back for their second season back to back. No one saw them on Millennials versus Gen X, but then when they came for Game Changers, like could be a curse. No one knows you, so they vote you out right away. But both of them made it far into the game enough, so like it wasn't too much of a disadvantage.
But I
And so
think you also get into the like, if you play the game wrong both times because you don't have time to like sit back and reflect. Like
mm,
Amanda in 15 and 16 made it to final tribal both times, but she lost both times because she knew how to get to final tribal, but she didn't know how to close the deal and she didn't have like time to like reflect back on what happened to her, which I think is also important when you're playing Survivor. Like Russell did the same thing. So,
yeah, I definitely feel like obviously you can't really tell like, oh, when they're going to call and when they're going to invite you back kind of thing. Like you have to take whatever opportunities that you get, and to be on an all winner season as a winner, like heck yeah, Tommy would, he said he would say yes if he was asked right after he won last year kind of thing. But yeah, I sort of agree. I think like Nick is in the perfect spot. Your season has aired. It's been a year or two. You like sort of get on with your life and then you can come back and you've changed too as a person. But yeah, I feel like going back to back, you're going to play the exact same game low key. Um, but yeah, I feel like for Tony and Sandra, two of the people I feel like that will have a big target on their back, going on Game Changers low key probably was a good thing for them, because if you just think so Changers, he was out second or third or whatever, sort of downgrades his social capital maybe. Like, he's not that good of a player. He got out third. Ha ha ha. But I think maybe these people are not that dumb to be like, oh, he's not a good player kind of thing. But from other perceptions, I feel like coming back for Game Changers, even though it was sort of a ass of a season because all the good players got voted out first, was good for them because now they know what it's like to be voted off.
Yeah. And I feel like, I don't know, I'm interested to see how Edge of Extinction also plays into it. Because, like you said, when you get to the edge, it's kind of like you have the hurt of being voted off, but you also have the chance to get back. So we'll have to see how that works.
Yeah, and so for like who we wish we were playing, I sort of would want to see Chris Underwood play again, whether it's on this season or some other kind of season, but like him being on Edge and then going to Edge and then coming back from Edge and then winning. And he had a good last 5 days on the island to win the game. I want to see him play a 39-day season. And I think this would have been a cool time to see him play because he's with all winners and it has Edge as well. And he's been on a season with Edge before. None of these other people have. So I feel like it would have been interesting to see how Chris would navigate Edge of Extinction, knowing that, like, what happens at Edge? You become probably super chummy, buddy. Like, how do you navigate that when it's not a Ponderosa? And so he's the master at it because he knows. And so I think that would have been super interesting to see.
Yeah, and I think another player I would like to see play again is JT, because even though he failed spectacularly on both the seasons he played after he won, I would like to see like whether or not he'd be able to get back on his game. And I also feel like if anyone like was underestimating people, JT would be very underestimated since he screwed up real bad twice. So
yeah, even Stephen Fishback on Rob Haddison podcast said JT should have been cast on this season. For people that I'm looking forward to, unless you have more people you wish.
Yeah, I don't have anyone else that I'm like, I wish they were playing. So.
I feel like the cast is overall, it's a nice taste. A good mix of like old and new. Some people here and there, like maybe they were invited and then they didn't get invited kind of thing. Or like they had life things happening. They said no, or they just can't. They're too old or whatever. So I feel like from the 40 seasons, like this is a good rounded cast of people that I'm excited to see play again. And it's really gonna be so good. Tyson, I really like. He has such a sarcastic sense of humor. I am so freaking excited just to see him on my TV and like what kind of stupid things will he say? Like, I just love him. And he has kids now too, so it's like, how does that change your gameplay? He can still be super witty. Yes.
Yeah, I mentioned this kind of in the beginning of the podcast, but I'm really excited to see Parvati play again just because like she's one of my favorite Survivor players. I'm interested to see Sandra play again because she said after this past season that like she learned a lot from Rob, and I'm interested to see if like that's true or if she was just like, haha, Rob, I love him. So yeah, I'm excited to see everyone's game change basically, but I feel like Parvati and Sandra are my top two that I'm like, yeah, I'm really glad that I'm seeing you.
Yeah, like we've just talked about for the past 20 minutes about how all of this life stuff has happened. People are older. I'm so freaking excited to see how that changes their gameplay. Also, I'm so excited to see the one-time winners play again because, like, Boston Rob, 4 or 5 times, we've seen you a lot out there. But, like, the people like Yule, Denise, Kim, super freaking excited. They were freaking powerhouses their season. How is that going to correlate into this season? Very excited to see. Adam, also, we got to put him in there. We love Adam. Natalie, also, I would love to see play again. And then Jeremy, I want to see him play a third time.
I'm really stoked to see Jeremy play again, too. I kind of forgot that he was on the season, even though he got a confessional in the like trailer thing. But yeah, I'm really excited to see Jeremy play again. I just feel like this is going to be such a good season, and I'm really excited for it.
That's why they put Edge in there. So even if our favorites get voted out, they'll still get some screen time on the Edge of Extinction. So I'm just so freaking excited for February to roll around. It's the day after my birthday that season 40 is going to be airing. So happy birthday to me, because that'll be so freaking fun to watch. And also, Australian Survivor All Stars is happening. So I've been watching that to know all of the contestants going into All Stars. And so TV is just going to be so freaking good in February. Let us know in the comments down below who you are looking forward to seeing play Survivor Season 40, or who you wish were on this season out of the 20 other contestants who were not on this season. But yeah, next time Alyssa and I will be doing a tribe reaction, because those have been posted online. Not sure if they're official, but you can just zoom in on the photos, still frame the trailer video, and you can see the tribe splits. But that'll be interesting because a lot of people know each other.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys next time. We hope that you have happy holidays and a great new year. Bye.
Bye.